In April 1955, Albert Einstein knew his time was up. Suffering from a ruptured artery, he flatly refused life-prolonging surgery, telling his doctors, "It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share." He left his family and colleagues with one non-negotiable instruction for his remains. He demanded his body be cremated, and his ashes scattered in a location that would forever remain a secret. He had spent his life exploring the abstract mechanics of the universe, and he was terrified that after his death, his physical body would be worshipped as an idol. He didn't want his grave to become a pilgrimage site. But his desperate attempt to dissolve into anonymity set the stage for the ultimate violation of his physical autonomy. Just 7 hours after Einstein passed away, the pathologist on duty at Princeton Hospital, Dr. Thomas Stultz Harvey, prepared to conduct a routine autopsy. As he worked to confirm the cause of death, Harvey made an unauthorized calculation. He took his scalpel, opened the skull, and extracted the brain. Harvey possessed no legal or familial permission to remove the organ, let alone keep it for himself. Harvey had bypassed every ethical protocol, transforming an autopsy into an intellectual crime driven by the human urge to physically possess genius. When the hospital discovered what Harvey had done, they demanded the brain back. Harvey refused and lost his job. Isolated, he meticulously weighed the organ, photographed it, and carved it into 240 distinct 1 cubic centimeter blocks. Looking at this mason jar, it's hard to process that this floating tissue once mapped the cosmos. For decades, Harvey took these fragments on a surreal road trip, storing them in a cider box and keeping them hidden under a beer cooler in the trunk of his car. As the world obsessed over the theoretical value of his prize, Harvey's professional standing and personal life steadily eroded. After losing his medical license and seeing 3 marriages fail, he spent his final years as a factory worker on the night shift, still guarding the jars in his closet. His obsession with the biological source of intelligence had effectively dismantled his own life. 30 years passed before the first real scientific studies of Harvey's tissue slices broke the silence in 1985. In this 3D map of the brain, we can see the first major anomaly. Researchers discovered an unusually high ratio of glial cells, the cells that provide support and nutrition to neurons, clustered here in the left parietal region. This indicated that his neurons were drawing massive amounts of energy. Then, a 1999 study revealed that Einstein's parietal lobes were 15% wider than average. More importantly, a major anatomical boundary called the Sylvian fissure was entirely missing. Without that physical groove dividing the tissue, scientists theorized that neurons could shoot signals back and forth without interruption. This frictionless communication could be crucial for complex spatial and mathematical reasoning. Finally, slicing the model reveals a 2013 discovery, an abnormally thick corpus callosum. This dense band of nerve fibers acts as a bridge between the brain's logical left hemisphere and its creative right hemisphere, suggesting intense, hyper-fast connectivity. Compiling a list of structural quirks is interesting, but it raises a question. Are these specific anomalies a definitive biological blueprint for high intelligence, or are we just looking for patterns in the noise? Modern neuroscientists point to a heavy publication bias in these studies. Researchers were actively hunting for proof of genius, and they made the critical error of comparing a 76-year-old brain to control groups consisting of much younger men. There is also the reality of neuroplasticity. This is the scientific principle that the human brain physically changes its shape and cellular density based on how it is used over a lifetime. Einstein wasn't necessarily born with this unique brain architecture. It is entirely possible that his brain morphed into this specific shape as a direct result of spending a lifetime intensely wrestling with the universe's deepest mysteries. Today, you can trace the end of this journey to the dimly lit clinical halls of the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. Here, the artifact exists in a state that feels deeply anticlimactic. The greatest mind of the 20th century sits reduced to 46 microscopic, translucent slices mounted on glass slides. The contrast is profound. The mind that conceptualized the curvature of space-time and the boundless abstract universe is now suspended as quiet, fragmented meat in a display case. Despite decades of slicing, staining, and measuring, Science failed to extract a singular, replicable magic formula for genius from the tissue. These glass-mounted remnants serve as a sobering record of the cost of scientific obsession, marking the spot where the pursuit of knowledge violated the final dignity of the man who redefined it.